This is Vinny Patel. He managed to somehow get into Formula One racing as an engineer, and this is his story.
So I always wanted to be in Formula One, in motor racing, from a very early age. A kind of classic boyhood passion, watching it on TV. Had more interest in the technical side than being a driver, funnily enough, and because of that I focused my efforts from university onwards, educationally, to try and put myself in the best place. So I went to a good engineering school, and I followed that up with a master's that was focused in motor racing specifically.
So you got the education, right? Was it easy to get in? Did you just fill in an application and say, Vinny Patel, yay?
I wish it was that easy. It's probably at my parents' place I still have a stack of rejection letters from the paper applications, and it wasn't easy. I ended up doing a lot of voluntary work, working for free on all of my spare weekends during that year I spent in doing my master's MSc course.
Right, and how did you get in?
It was hard work. It was a lot of phone calls, finding contacts in directories. Not much was on the internet back then, and a bit of a bludgeoning technique. It would be evenings and afternoons spent on the phone, constantly phoning people, trying to get them to take you on, even though you're offering to be a volunteer.
Were they kind of like upset that somehow you found their phone number?
A little, yeah. Some of them were trying to remain off the radar, and I think potentially they would get pestered with requests similar to mine a lot. And it was quite hard to break through to some of them. And there was a bit opportunistic with timing. You knew you had to time it well.
So what were your initial techniques that didn't work, and then just if you should show me what's the one that did?
I was naive in the beginning to think that, having positioned myself academically, these teams, which were all in junior racing, so a few leagues below Formula One, where the drivers begin their careers as 17 or 18-year-old kids, that having been to a good engineering school and being on a good master's program, they would say, yes, come along. But it was not like that at all. So initially the parading of the CV was not great. You needed to speak to them and tell them what you could do and convince them that you were worth their time.
Right. Was there any like really kicking the teeth kind of rejections?
There was. I was not very despondent because I would just pick up the phone and try somebody else. It was more of a resolute, headstrong, stubborn attitude of I will get in. Like all kind of stories. I got in with two teams at the same time. I had friends on the MSc who were trying to do the same thing, so we kind of managed the contacts, and we ended up. I took one role and he took the other. References from them directly led to my first job. So.
Right. So how long were you working for free volunteering?
It was every weekend in my MSc course, which was around 15 months. So
your first job, how did that come about?
I had to distinguish myself, which was a change in the technique as well. And at that time, these teams at that level were just getting online with data systems and computer systems.
So you got your first job.
Yes.
What was the journey from there?
So the first job came as directly due to the contacts I was able to make, having wedged the door open, working voluntarily in the community. Once you're in, everybody sees your face and you share your story and they know where you want to go. That led to the first job with the references from my first boss, and from there it mushroomed really. It was a bit of a snowball effect, continuing that network building, doing a good job and having a good reputation obviously was key as well. And I was quite quickly, within a few years, able to go freelance, which allowed me to do my job and travel the world, working on race cars all over the world, from Australia to all the way through Asia to the US. And back then, masters, MSc programs for motorsport were few and far between. So this was highly regarded educationally, but at the same time, bringing that together with my experiences of really mucking in.
Did they choose you in particular, or did they do it with everyone else who was also doing that?
I think my story was quite unique at that point for them.
If I could just summarise how you got into Formula One, it sounds like the first thing is you got education, really first thing. The second thing, to get into the industry, you you did a lot of research on people's addresses, email and phone numbers. The third thing is you called them and you dealt with a lot of knockbacks and rejections.
Yes, yeah.
Or in that pile of
Yeah.
rejections. The fourth thing is you worked for free for
Initially.
about 15 months or so. The fifth component was that you found while you're working there, you built up your connections and contacts, and you found areas to add value beyond the other people working for free. And I think those would be the 5 key points.
Yes.
Would there be anything else you'd like to add to that?
No, I think underlying it all is you know what your end goal is, and you just have to be persistent enough and make a plan to get there, one that works for you.
So, guys, I think those skill sets are quite transferable to anything you ever want to do. And who knows where Vinny is next. I think you've got some other projects you're going to be working on soon.
Yes, yeah, things have moved on. I've got to Formula One and I've stopped working in Formula One, and now it's a bit of a transition to do new and different things.
So watch this space. Bye.